Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Monday night, 8 p.m. The online darts live lounge returns. Episode 134. Myself, Phill, Bars, Lee Boyce, and Dan Simpson are in the house. Boys, 134 episodes later. It's quite an achievement when you think about it.
I'm always surprised every week when we're able to return, and this week's even better. I'm not sure what he's doing with his facial hair, but anyone's an upgrade on Dob not being here. So nice to see you, Dan.
I thought, because I'm just to add to the young and cool. I thought I can do that as well. I can do a backwards baseball cap. I can be the young hip one. It's not a problem.
My first thought was as well when Dob's not here. Obviously, we know he's reffing in Portsmouth, but I'm thinking, whose wedding is he attending to tonight? Does he don't get a wedding if he's not here on a Monday?
He's to be fair, the internet's not very good in Portsmouth. However,
no way am I letting you make an excuse for him. If I'm not here, you don't make one for me.
No, I'm going to hammer him now. However, he's trying to be intellectual and going to the quiz.
Oh,
no.
I mean, let's hope there's some questions on. I thought I had to bite that back then. I thought it could have been really. It's not 9 o'clock yet, is it? No.
I hope there's some questions on VAR.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah.
Because he's still bitter and twisted about it. Chat room, good evening. How are we doing? Everyone is in nice and early. 21 Up Bowls, how are we doing? Bob is in. Tommy, how are we doing? ABM, as always. Paul, Kieran, hope you're feeling better, mate. Carl from Darts Track, hope you are good, mate. Good to have you in. Rob, Morgan, Davey, Andrew, Joe, James, Wayne. Loads of people in today. Erps, how are we doing? Lee is in. Joel, Matt. Oh, it's all superb. We'll talk about that, Matt. Don't worry about that. It's on the list. I'm buzzing for tonight's show. Really am. Plenty going on. But first of all, before we get into any darts, we announced it at the weekend on the stream, but we're going to go again now. The Live Lounge live date is confirmed.
Yes.
Monday, the 11th of December, will be the Live Lounge live coming to you from the Prince of Wales in Ilkeston, Macy's pub. We've got to finalise some bits, but the date is nailed, boys. How exciting is this?
I am buzzing. I can't wait. I've got my annual leave booked in at work to travel down. My new car's arriving 3 weeks before. This is going to be my first run out in my new motor. I'm absolutely buzzing. I can't wait. I need to find myself a nice hotel locally. I haven't picked one yet, so I might need a recommendation from me somewhere to stay. But I'm really looking forward to it. We're just hopeful that we get a few people out of the chat room and a few regulars along just to have a bit of a catch up and a meet and a few drinks, and it's going to be really good fun.
Yeah, and look, perfect time for the World Championships as well. We'll put something out on Facebook. We'll do like an event on Facebook, but it's out there now. The date is nailed, and I cannot wait. The pub's not normally open on a Monday. However, Mace is opening it just for us, so you guys can come along as well and get involved.
What did that run with us being live?
Why wasn't I told? But we're live. To be fair, the Live Lounge Live could be the one where we get cancelled. But hey, if we're going to do it, we'll go ahead a blaze of glory.
Yeah, ideally, we need to do it through a different platform so we can retain access to this one. Once we all get, we might just have to set something up just for that evening because there's a very, very decent chance we're not allowed on again.
I've got a feeling it's going to be like an actual Monday, though. We'll all turn up at 1 minute to walking in there. What are we talking about?
Oh, mate, I'm going to travel Sunday. I'm going to travel this Sunday. I'm down for breakfast, mate. I'm going to have a full day with it.
My whole PC setup that you all see on my Instagram, I've got to pack this away and take it up and everything like that.
It will be good. No, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. So people are asking. Now, the details aren't on social yet. We will get them out this week. We'll set up a Facebook event through our online darts page on Facebook. So get over there. Will there be an auction? No, Matt Ward's not invited, Johnny. We've only got enough time to talk about the darts, not the auction as well. How much will it cost, Morgan? We are not charging you to come in. It's just we need to know who's coming, but it will be free entry. Just come and get involved. Evening, Paddy. Hope you are good. But look, if it works, we've got some nice ideas going forward. But the first one, we just want to get it out there, test it, make sure we can do it and everything like that. But after 3 years, the little live lounge that we started in lockdown is actually going to be a true live lounge.
Yeah, and that's the only thing we can guarantee right now about that Monday show. There will be further time. 100%.
It's going to start earlier as well. We're probably going to start somewhere between 7 and 7:30 and just see what happens.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
a few of us together, plus the names that we've just briefly spoken about, and that's still in planning. So it should be good.
There's some decent names already want to come along that have messaged us saying, yeah, we'll come, and stuff like that. So I genuinely can't wait. We're going to be in and out. Like, we won't all be in shot at the same time. We'll have, obviously, I'm going to have to produce some of it, and you boys can take the lead. Then we'll drop out. Jar is going to be there as well. We're going to get the Housewives' Choice along. Will it be streamed? Yeah, we will go live on YouTube with it. So if we get cancelled, Gob said something stupid because he had a few beers.
Carl,
if you could get across, mate, then more than welcome to. Be good to see you get involved. Obviously, by then the World Championship draw will be out as well. So just genuinely buzzing for this. Now we've got a date.
Well, we've spoken about it enough, so it's now over to us to deliver, isn't it? And
I've had to order some new kit this week as well. We've got a camera switcher and everything coming.
How exciting! I can't wait. I'm absolutely buzzing. Nice to have a little trip down south.
Trip up north for me. Anything north of Hurstbourne's Aaron.
I'm not going to lie, Dan. It's going to be weird seeing you and it's not in Blackpool.
I know. we only meet in Blackpool, don't we? We only see
we're never going to be in shot at the same time.
No, we can't.
And by the way, from our point of view, Christmas jumpers are a must as well.
No.
Oh, it's December, isn't it?
11th of December, boys. So even you can't moan at that.
It's not even. There's still more than 12 days till Christmas.
Shush your gums.
Is it? No, it is. It's. My lights will be up by then. So.
Oh, mine's already in planning.
That's just a waste of electricity. If you want lights up, then you're not even home, Dan.
I think the only thing stopping Mrs. Simpson from having the Christmas decorations up at the minute is she's busy decorating for Halloween. Decorate for Halloween and then we'll do Christmas after that.
To be fair, boys, I was going to send you a screenshot yesterday. They're switching the lights on in London on the 2nd of November. I was going to send you a screenshot and invite you.
I feel like, and I haven't, I feel like I've got notifications for whenever Phill Bars put something on about Christmas. Because it seems like if I click on social media, it's only been uploaded 30 seconds and it's something to do with Christmas. Any other post, I don't see anything. I set some tracker on me.
I went fishing big time yesterday. It was brilliant.
Oh yeah, I full on bit. I'm surprised I didn't get some big emoji back or some gift back.
Yeah. Right, we're going to crack on with the show now that is out. So first of all, we're going to go straight to the women's series. And before we dive into the ins and the outs, what a weekend for women's darts this was.
It just continues to deliver. The standard, the domination that we've had in 2023, I'm doing a year ahead of myself. The domination we've had in 2023 from Bo is well publicised. But the fact that we've had Natalie come away and pick up a title on Sunday. We've still seen some great runs from a number of other players this weekend, and obviously we'll move on shortly to what Fallon then achieved this weekend in to the Grand Slam. Just generally, the quality on shows just improving weekend on weekend. It's just so good to see, and the more the weekends continue as to do, the more there's going to be taught that they need a lot more TV opportunity in the PDC.
Yes, Sam, there will be some darting guests. Don't you worry about that. So, right, before a dart was thrown, obviously, Bo had number one sewn up. She could have had 4 weekends off and it would have still been all right. But the race for the World Championship and the Grand Slam took a twist before a dart was even thrown. Obviously, Lisa Ashton, it came out on Friday, wouldn't be competing due to an operation on her elbow, and we wish Lisa all the best and a speedy recovery. I know Lindsay sometimes listens to the show and things like that, and if you're listening, the Ashton family, we wish Lisa all the best and a speedy recovery. So when that news broke, it was pretty much guaranteed, barring an unbelievable run from, at the time, Rhiannon O'Sullivan, that Fallon and Mikuru had locked those world spots in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were almost secured going, like exactly as you say, before a dart was thrown. And the big, I suppose the tense shootout, then all eyes went onto the slam, didn't it?
Yeah, and we'll come to that. So going into it, obviously Bo had already got her Grand Slam spot. She was off to Wolverhampton. But Mikuru Suzuki had £2,300 lead over Fallon Sherrock with 4 events to go. And I know we don't normally talk about odds, but she'd have been a huge odds-on favourite. If you were having a flutter on that she would have been 1-5, 1-6 at that point to take the spot. So going into it, I was chatting to Fallon the night before and even on the morning of the Saturday, and her aim was, look, if it happens, it happens. I'm not looking at that particularly. It's all about confirming Alexandra Palace, just rubber sealing that. But it was just remarkable the way Saturday went, and Fallon winning that first event really set the cat amongst the pigeons.
And that's sort of, you look at a weekend as it is, and it is, Fallon's still looking at hoping to achieve that because she knows it's possible to do. But it's about just making sure you have a good start. And obviously making sure that you are still in that fight on Sunday. And to be honest, she did absolutely more than that, didn't she? The manner of the performance on Saturday. Yes, there's always going to be question marks in the women's series about the draw and the seedings. That is always going to come up with these early draws. But when that opportunity arises, you've got to grab it with both hands. And Fallon, as good as secured that part of qualification or got close to it on the Saturday, because that performance was just so good. But I guess the flip side of that is looking at what Mikuru did over the weekend. And Mikuru's levels just wasn't where we've seen them before. And like it says, full thirders must do then to Fallon on taking that fight and just palming Mikuru away, really, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go on, I'm just going to thank Brendan for his constant support. We've got a troll that's trying to be funny. However, doesn't realise is by actually watching us and subscribing, because you have to comment in the chat room and give us an interaction, he's actually doing us a favour by trying to be hilarious.
Cheers,
top
dude.
work, Brendan. Top work. So say
Go
whatever
to
you
mine
want,
for a
mate.
palmo whenever you fancy.
Yeah, say whatever you want, but you have to subscribe to be in the chat room. You've given us a view and some interaction, so we appreciate your love.
I think it after the first win, though, I thought it was really interesting because that sort of started it off in terms of, where there was a couple of grand in between, and Mikuru looked like a really heavy favourite going into that to finish in that top spot. When Fallon won the first event, I think it started to be a bit more 50-50 and things started to look a little bit tighter. But then in the second event, obviously they faced each other, and then it became almost a shootout in that second one. And the fact that Fallon came through that match against Mikuru Suzuki, won it, and then went on to win another title, really, really established. Like it just set what was quite, if we're honest, an unbelievable weekend. That first day was incredible on Saturday.
Yeah, so in the first event, Mikuru fell in the last 32 to Bo. So obviously we were laughing and joking on the stream at the time, saying Fallon's in the Bo fan club here. And then we got to the quarterfinals, and when Bo lost to Vicky, it was like, well, here we go. This opens it right up. And then Fallon was just sensational from that point. It was almost like a switch was flicked where she's averaged 90 and a 5-0 win over Kirsty Vinnikainen, and then 95 beating Vicky Pruin 5-0. And that really, really set the tone for her.
Yeah, without being disrespectful to the quarter-final, semi-final sort of final opponents that Fallon played, and probably not used to facing in that stage of tournaments. As I said, Fallon saw that and probably could have used it as I should win this, but didn't. Put in that manner of performance to make sure she 100% got that victory. And that was then the point where people are looking, and social media that's a little bit excited both ways, positively and negatively, that is all this about to change? Even more so with the announcements that we've seen from Bo that has meant one less position, all that sort of stuff for the Worlds, and all the conversation that's been around that. You've now got Fallon, who, let's be honest, before this weekend should have been a Grand Slam. The performances from Maturu meant that Maturu was the better player over the period of time and was that much far in front. But then when it comes to a point of a game, a point of a series, that's when there's that much pressure on Fallon. Fallon tends to always perform. I know she's told you, Phil, that she didn't feel any pressure down into this weekend, but she had her eyes firmly set on the Grand Slam because of the history she's made at that tournament before, and 100% wanted to be back there then. And them performances in that first one, if you look at the numbers and the performances that Lorraine and Vicky put up, Vicky didn't win a lead, but still averaged 80, a very good 80. Lorraine Hyde got 3 leads, averaging 83. Good performances. Fallon was just on top at that stage, and it was just, you had a feeling then that Saturday was going to be a very, very good day. It was just maintaining that down into the Sunday. Yeah,
so then going into that second event on the Saturday, instantly we all looked, where was Bo, where was Fallon, where was Mikuru, what half of the draw were they in? And we looked, and they're all in the same half. And Gob and I obviously did the street. We were like, this is going to be interesting now, because they're all in the same part. So it's like they all can't win it. Only one is going to be left standing at the end of it. And going into that last 16 game, that Mikuru and Fallon were on a collision course. You know, when you plot the draw and you just, the lights start flashing at this round, it was like, if all goes according to plan, we have got a showdown at dawn. And it was a game that went to and fro. Fallon broke early. Mikuru came back. And then Mikuru misses a match start. But Fallon's clutch finish in that last leg, I think, was it 63 or 69? It was I can't remember which. It was one of those mid-60 range finishes that can be tricky. And the last start in hand, double 16, on both of them, I dread to think what the pressure was like at that point for both of them.
But that's where that is where Fallon comes to fruition a lot of the times, though, is in that pressure is Fallon.
That's it. I think that is generally where, over the course of her career, we've seen her best darts. You know, we've seen her best finishing under pressure when she is a big match player. And she's a big event player as well, and that seems to be when she's best suited, when the pressure's on, and that's exactly what we saw at the weekend. Really, there wasn't too much pressure on her in the rest of the events this year, barring this weekend. This weekend was when the screw really tightened, because if she didn't show up and do something miraculous, she wasn't getting that place at the Slam. And that's exactly the moment that she's picked on in the calendar to really put the pressure on and put in some just tremendous. I didn't see a great deal. I caught up on quite a bit. Some of her finishing was superb, and just times when she held her nerve, not just in the game against Miruko Suzuki, but in other matches where she got through. Not so much by the skin of her teeth, but she'd come back against match darts and a lot of last leg deciders where she held her nerve and finished well. It was really impressive all weekend.
And look, then the semi-final, it's another showdown, Fallon versus Bo. And look, we'll talk about Bo in a second, but Fallon raced into a 4-1 lead. Yes, Bo missed darts at a double, but Fallon punished every mistake. Then Bo races back and we're 4-all, and we're thinking going into that deciding leg, when you've reeled off 3 in a row, the momentum and the good feeling is with Bo at that point. And you think she's then going to go on and break Fallon's heart. But that last leg again, Fallon finding something when she had to. But on Bo, first of all, we know from the social media post, she lost her darts in Denmark. The ones that I don't know this, but just looking from her on the screen, the ones she used this weekend looked smaller than the ones that she had been playing with. The actual barrels looked smaller.
Yeah, I'm not sure which ones she used.
Yeah, like I say, it might not have been, but
yeah, you've got a better eye than me if you've picked that up. I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Evening, John. Hope you are good, buddy. Yeah, it might have been an optical illusion, but the barrels looked smaller. It might have just been where the ones she had some colour in them and stuff like that. But at that point, when Fallon beats Bo, that final, all of a sudden, Fallon's then favourite to go to the slam. In the blink of an eye, it's completely turned.
And those 2-5, last leg, I was about to say 5-4, but last leg deciders 4-3 and 5-4 were the biggest moments of the weekend. Because if Matura knocked her out, there's an awful lot to do on Sunday.
In terms of level as well, in those big games when it is most important, the three games she's played on the bounce there to win that, she's averaged 81, 82 now, like just shy of 83. Like she's the level of darts that we saw from Fallon. It wasn't just that we saw Fallon win, and we didn't. She played a really, really good level of darts all weekend as well.
Yeah, and before we move on from the Saturday, massive shout out to Aoife McCormack getting to her first women's series final. And again, she's been threatening this for a while. We've seen some really good darts from Aoife all year. And look, she came up short in the final, but congratulations to her getting to her first final. And look, I'm sure it's only a matter of time until she wins one of these.
Yeah, she's a great talent. And I know there's still a long way to go to the match play, but it's a good start to get to your first final, to be positioned in the green at the moment. It's now an extra motivation for these players, because we're going to see them probably 5 down to 16. That can move around quite a lot, especially with a final or a win. But to be in that just gives an extra motivation to make sure you're back on that practice board, ready for, I want to say, March is when the women's series returns, and then it's all focus is Blackpool.
I think it's really good though. It's really positive for the women's game that we're talking in October about the women's match play next year and who might qualify and who's going into green. I think it's a really positive sign that that's where things are at the minute, that we're also, the people are actually really following and starting to look now who's going to get there, who's going to get to Blackpool. And I think, me personally, I think that at some point I'd like to see that 8 sneak up maybe a little bit higher, but we'll take it for now.
You say it's a long way till Blackpool. This weekend just gone was actually the halfway point for qualification for next year.
Ooh. Was it really?
So, yeah, they've had three weekends since the match play, and then there's 3 weekends next year. So it was actually quite a pivotal weekend. So we're halfway through. We'll talk about the rankings more in a second. But then first event on the Sunday, all eyes again on this, and Makuru went out first round. So all of a sudden, it's a darting disaster for the Miracle that her fate is no longer in our own hands, because Fallon, obviously we know that she goes and sews it up here, but in the early rounds, the last event could have been irrelevant, and it ended up being that way by losing that early.
And that can only, there was applause to Fallon. That coming into this weekend, there was a very good chance the last event wouldn't matter, but it wouldn't matter because Matura's already sold it up. So she was that far in front coming into the weekend. The fact it was sold up going into that event because of Fallon and that turnaround just shows how incredible it was to win for a. But again, that isn't a first round draw. That shouldn't be a first round draw. Matura versus Deezer.
We'll touch on that as well once we've gone through the results.
No,
that's on my list.
I've just had a skim through, but in that event, and I don't know whether the fact that whether Fallon will. Well, I suppose she knows that Suzuki's gone out in the first round, but I don't know whether that's just freed her up a little bit throughout that entire event. From the lowest average she had was 82. There was 3 games where she's averaging 90. Like the level that we saw from her on Sunday morning was even better than we'd seen on Saturday. Really, really positive, like just high level darts. 82 is the lowest we've seen in a tournament she's won. When you add it all together, it's mad. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and again, looking at it, that at this point, when Fallon beat Bo in the quarterfinals, Fallon's 3rd win in a row over Bo, where beforehand it was the other way, that Bo had always constantly had the better of Fallon.
That will happen because it's a great battle between the two. We will see times where one's dominant and one's a little bit more. We see that. But then it just came for Fallon at a time where she needs it most. She produces her best. It seems like she plays very good stuff throughout the year, but then you get to the second half of the year and she's a completely different player. It's like it's warming herself up for what's about to come.
Do you think the format of some of these women's tour events, where we get 2 events in a day, 2 days in a row, and we get that really tight packed 4 events in 48 hours? Do you think it suits players who almost play themselves into form? Because for Fallon's come into that weekend, and for the first 3 events, I mean, she might. I assume she's probably maybe just run out of steam by the end of the weekend. But if you hit one of those events in form and you go out well, like you can really build up a head of steam, can't you? When they come so thick and fast over that weekend.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one, and obviously Fallon goes on to win that event, beating Rihanna O'Sullivan in the final, and obviously when she beat Bo in the quarterfinals, I was on the blower to the PDC lads to check, was the count back rule the same for the women as it was the men? Because at that point, that win put her £2,000 in front. So if she'd have lost in the semi-final, the best Makuru could have done is got level with her, and that they confirmed it quickly that yes, it was, the count back rule was the same. So at that point, it was done and dusted, and Fallon goes on to win 3 in a row that weekend, 4 in a row overall. And I dropped her a message saying, "Are you playing in the last one?" And I got a message back saying, "Yeah, the draw's done. I don't want to. I'm knackered."
That's what I say. I didn't know, but I think it's difficult. If someone's won 3 events on the bounce, it is difficult to see how they might run out of steam. Just the amount of games that she's had. She's played more games than anybody else in 48 hours. Lots of those games had a considerable amount of pressure on them as well. So it's very easy.
More a mental thing, I think. I think mentally she was absolutely fried.
That's it. It's just so it's an awful lot in it, and in such a tight period of time, long days as well.
But yeah, the thing that obviously where she is now, she's clearly qualified for match play. She's obviously done what she needs to do for the Worlds. That reopens then next year in March. So I understand, and fair play to Fallon to continue to play, even though she's already qualified for and the draw's made. But it was job done. Mentally time to sort of slow down, isn't it? And not have that pressure. So there was no real surprise, I guess, that she didn't go on to win 4 in that weekend.
Exactly that. But moving into the last event of 2023 for the women, we have a new winner. Natalie Gilbert has added her name to the Roll of Honour. Congratulations to her beating Lorraine Winstanley in the final. And just a nice story that we've got another winner, not just Bo, Makuru, Fallon, Lisa, that someone else is adding their name to that roll of honour.
Yeah, and played very well all weekend. Interview was very, very good. Obviously, had a lot of heartbreak the past 6-12 months, and the fact it's then someone using a negative and spinning that as motivation has come to fruition, and Natalie going on and taking that one, and did see Lorraine win Stanley in a final. I know we've seen a good run from Thursday as well. Good runs across the weekends from Anastasia, putting herself in good position. So generally, it's just a very, very good weekend, but massive congratulations to Fallon and Natalie.
Yeah. So questions off the women's series. I asked Rob this as well. Bo not winning a title, obviously, once she made the decision to go to Lakeside, it was all over social media that it's an easy 25 grand for her. There's no one to touch her. And look, she is still the best player in that tournament. However, before this weekend, there was that shield of invincibility around her, where we've seen it in the men's game. Phill had it, Michael had it, I can't beat them. But this weekend just dented that a little bit. And will some of the women going to Lakeside now think, hang on a minute, I can win this? That she's not invincible.
I mean, the cloak of I nearly said the cloak of invisibility there. I thought I was on Harry Potter. That cloak of invincibility, it does only, it only lasts for so long. And everybody, no matter who, whether it is Phill, whether it's Michael Van Gogh, everybody can be got, and everybody can be got at one time or another. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I would have said that it's an absolute banker. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Bo is winning that title. I still think I'm pretty confident, but I'm not as confident as I was. Certainly, and just while we were talking there, I was flicking around, just reminding myself of who else is in that tournament. And you start to see names that were all quite deep in that, this weekend. There's quite a few names that you might think, oh, actually, like it could happen. Whereas a month or two ago, I went, nah, absolutely no chance. But
oh yeah, look, she's still the best woman player in that Lakeside draw. But all of a sudden, the others will just think, hang on a minute, I can perhaps get at her. Evening, Pete. Hope you are good, mate.
I'm still not convinced. Obviously, she's strong favourite. It's obvious she's down to be. There's just, I guess, the players who are probably looked at, if Bo would have opted for PDC, then you're looking at the other names in here. But the stronger names then in the second, third, fourth favourites tend to be the ones that level on the floor is better than level on the TV. And that's where it doesn't seem to have the same impact on Bo, where I think she's still a couple of levels above. So my stance probably on it is a bit like we say when MVG's in form, you need to dead them early. If you get them in semi-final, final, then there's probably a bit of a struggle when the format's slightly under. So if someone's done a debt Bo, I think it's dead early.
I think you probably, I'd agree completely with that. I think, and that's a big one. I think, and I think it's a big one in Bo's benefit is when that format starts getting longer, because over the longer formats, as we've seen many, many times, it's often the better player will just be able to edge out people that are having a good day. Over a longer format, there's less. There's less to go wrong for everybody else, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, no, it's just interesting to see. Andy says over 4 legs, Bo is still the one to win. Look, she still will be huge favourite. We're not saying that. It was just the others. Will they have that mindset that I can get out there? Yeah, very sad news about Toon, the Dutch former PDC player passing away today at 35. It's sad when the world loses anyone, but 35 is no age for anyone, is it? It's really sad.
Yeah, totally agree. Awful news. Really bad news.
Pete. Yeah, no. Look, if she turns up and plays like we know she can, 100%, it's probably only Lisa that has the game to get nearer if she plays at that level.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyone else is going to have to play the game of their life, aren't they? Like they're going to have to play way above. And this is the thing. And Pete's probably right. Like what a lot of the others are going to have to rely on is that Bo as one off and as a bit of a stinker on the same game that they play.
Have the game of their life.
Their game of their life, yeah. And those two things probably have to align at the same time.
Yeah. Next, seeding for the women's series. Is it now time that the top 8 are seeded in the women's series? Because we saw some stinkers of draws.
100%.
Early on, and it's just like, this isn't right.
Yeah, and I can't understand why anyone would have an argument against that. For me, it's common sense, and I don't know why it wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, it seems to be, and I understand the women's series is still very new in comparison to when we looked at the PDC, and there is steps that need to be introduced slowly. But for me, this should come into effect, I guess, from March. It's a difficult one because it's which one is their main focus. Is it the World Championship race, so you bring it in for March, or is it you bring it in for September, I'm guessing, which is post-match play race?
I think if you're going to do it, you have to do it at the start of the year.
But that's halfway through their qualification for their only TV event.
It is, but there's no right or wrong way, because if you do it in September, you're then halfway to qualifying for the world. So there's no...
I guess if you do it, the difference being is if you do it after the match play, you can do it from the World 8 and you're not impacting anyone who can qualify for the World Championships or the Grand Slam, because that top 3 is normally that far afield that they would just be seeded. So if you do it now, though, how's that fair for anyone who's ranked 9th on the World Championship on the World Match Play race? I think it should come in probably post-match play, but it needs to come in anyway, wherever it lands.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you, Pete, as well. How are we doing? LS, hope you are good. Yeah, gobskiving tonight. Also, is it time that there is also a second women's tournament as well? Look, the match play is great, but is it time that there's another one? I.e., me and Gob thought of the idea at the weekend. You could do a tour final, like the Players' Championship finals, and run it at Minehead as well.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest. Is the logical one that makes it, because then you've already got an inbuilt qualification process. You know, you don't it's already set up for you almost, isn't it? It's really easy to pick a number and say, right, this is how many people are going to be in it, and then just take that's your qualification. It runs from this date to that date, and then straight away. The only thing I would say with it is the weekend at Minehead, like the schedule is packed in it, and I don't know how you'd squeeze that in.
But they don't need to put on TV. If they said, let's say they had last 16, you could do semi-finals and final on TV, and the rest
and the others is on PDC TV up on Reds or something like that.
Yeah, mind you, I suppose if you're happy running the tournaments, like in terms of the amount, the volume of games that get played, you know, and you look at how many are on in a session at Reds, you could, as long as you're playing a relatively short format, you'd squeeze a couple in. You'd squeeze them in, wouldn't you? You could do them at the bit, you know, first session. Saturday, you'd get them in, wouldn't you?
So I was looking at, say you had the top 16 as a women's tour final at Minehead, that you can have the last 16 quarterfinals in Reds or centre stage, wherever. Then you could have the two semi-finals before the men's semi-finals, men's semi-finals, women's final, youth final, men's final, because it would also give the men or the second semi-finalist in the men's an extra half an hour to get themselves ready for the final as well.
I don't know if that's the window. I don't know. I think that could be too long. I'm not sure if that's the win. I love the idea. I love the concept. I love it across Saturday, Sunday, but maybe, I don't know. It's the finals, pre-semi-finals, and then have the youth in between semi and final. And you've done the semi-finals of the women's earlier on in the day, so it's before the Players' Championship. Maybe
if you only did 8, if you did the top 8, and you just played quarters, semis, and final, you'd get there in comfortably.
Yeah, I think just 16 opens it up for more of them. There's 8 for the match play and the 16 for this, which is a bit of a bigger field and gives everyone else something to shoot for as well.
Yeah, I suppose.
But look, all in all, the involvement and the evolution of the women's series has been absolutely fantastic in its third year of development. It's been superb. Oh, I love that, Pete. For those that have never been, that will understand what a horrible road that is.
I'm there in a few weeks' time for a completely different weekend, and that's the one thing I'm dreading, and I don't even drive.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'm just pulling this back ever so slightly, but
yeah.
Do you think that, because when we talk about doing that into the Players' Championship or something like that, do you not think that we could siphon off the top of the Women's Order of Merit into the UK Open?
I would like to see that as well.
Because we've got
the Dev Tour, the Challenge Tour.
Yeah, we take the top 8 of the Dev Tour, the top 8 of the Challenge Tour, and we're still getting plenty of amateur qualifiers. You can retain what the UK Open is, but I definitely think you could scrape off the top 4 in a Women's Order of Merit and just say right straight into the UK Open. I think you'd be mad not to.
My only thing on that, Dan, and I 100% agree that there should be UK Open spots, but I don't think 4 is enough. And the reason I say that at the moment is what I don't want to see continuous for TV women's is just seeing Phill, Fallon, Matura, Lisa. That 8 into the field allows us to see, as we did in the second year of match play, the variation of the talent that we've got instead of just seeing the 3 or 4 outstanding ones. I 100% think there should be in the Open.
So I'll tell you what.
The promotion of it should mean we see 8 instead of 4.
I'll see your 8, right? And I'll compromise with you, right? Top 6 of the Order of Merit and 2 amateur female qualifiers.
For ladies.
That gets you 8, but 2 of them are amateur qualifiers. 6 off the Order of Merit. Keeps the spirit of the UK Open alive.
I don't dislike it.
I want to argue with you because I don't like that you beat me, but I think you have done.
Yeah, I don't dislike it at all. So from there's another exciting weekend. The final Euro Tour of the weekend as well, completing the field for the European Championships. First of all, the important one was the race for the Euros, and your boy Chris Dobie won his first game down and just about squeaked it in the end.
The skin of his teeth. Now, he was very lucky that the folks that were just in and around him in the qualifying race weren't there. So that Steve Beaton, Mike Decker, Luke Woodhouse, Matt Campbell, those that were sat just under him qualifying,
they weren't there.
That could have overtook him with 2 wins. That none of them were there. So he once he went out, whilst it was a bit of a disaster, he needed somebody, ranked outside of the top 30 to have an outrageous weekend and go to a semi-final or a final. That wasn't the person that did that. That's someone else. So yeah, just by the skin of his teeth. But yeah, very, very pleased. Obviously, it all adds up to his ever-growing pot of ranking money. Even if he goes out the first round Euros, he keeps that ticking over. Keeps building. Very positive. But bloody hell, he was lucky.
Yeah. Evening, Bob. Hope you are good. Yes, we have mentioned Dan's new goatee. Don't you worry about that. We started the show with it, but good to have you in. The show will be up as soon as we're done as a podcast, so don't worry about that. Can someone explain why Dobie is behind Dolan? No, so the count back rule is the last 4 events. So I'm guessing that over those 4 events, Brendan has edged Dobie. That's why they're that way round. And look, if I'm being honest, I know they're both good players here, and I'm not saying they're not, but right now, you'd rather play Chisley than Humphreys.
That's exactly what I thought. That was, and there was a point, where I was looking at that, and I was looking at what could happen if Dobie put another couple of wins together, and how that could change the seeding. And I thought, as long as he clings on, he might be best. And nothing at all against Chizzy, but current form and where things are at the minute for both Dobie and Chizzy, I don't think that's the worst he could have hoped for.
Yeah, look, the lesser of two evils. Who would you rather play at the moment, Chizzy or Luke? Look, they're both fabulous players, but if you had to one or the other, you'd rather play Chizzy than Luke right now.
Shall we add Madas Rasma into that? Then Michael van Derween, all of them being on 16.5 grand.
Yeah.
And actually being in the last place is probably the better place.
Exactly.
That's what I genuinely looked and thought. One more win and he could be knackered. He could get an absolute not that Chizzy isn't a stinker of a draw, but just on form at the minute, it's one of the few that I'd make Dobie arguably the favourite in that game on form.
Yeah, look, 100%. Another, I'm not sure milestone's the right word coming out of this weekend, but James Wade's hibernation in the top 16 of the world has come to an end.
It was due, wasn't it? It sounds harsh to say, but it was due. We was expecting it for a while. And a lot to defend still this year. Semi-finals, Slam and Worlds.
He's spending 100 grand at the Worlds.
Is there still a big chunk at the Slam as well, I think? Isn't it a semi-final there as well? So there's a huge chunk of money for someone who's, from when I can remember, James Wade has been in the top 16. It's been a while since he's been at that.
So he's defending
43.5 at the Slam.
43.5 at the Slam and 100 at the Worlds.
It's two semi-finals, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah. That's massive though, isn't it? It's massive when you consider sort of how his recent form's been.
So on the tour card race, I've never thought I'd say this, James Wade is provisionally world 26.
Ooh. That's miles away as well, isn't it?
He's not. I'm right in saying he's not in the Slam yet as well, is he?
No.
I'll say he's not in it yet, as there's like 150 qualifying places.
It would be the most James Wade thing to come through the qualifier and go on and get to a semi-final of the Slam.
Yeah.
It would be the most James Wade thing.
Yeah, but he's right up against it. As I say, he's defending an awful lot. I mean, he's a bloody good player, isn't he? But he's defending an awful lot of money, and a big chunk of it is in a tournament that he's not in yet. So he's got a lot. He's got some work to do if he's going to even retain the ranking he's holding at the moment. Because there's people around him as well, the likes of Andrew Gilding, the likes of Chris Dobie, who you expect to keep adding to their total over the course of the next few months. You expect them to keep kicking on. Not defending as much as James Wade is.
no, completely agree. Well, also as well, this makes me laugh that Gary Anderson went up a place in the rankings without even playing this weekend. Genius.
Remarkable.
But also, he's defending 100 grand at the Worlds, but not a lot elsewhere. So if he can have a good Grand Slam and Players' Championship events that he's in, he could cover a huge chunk of that. And let's be fair, the way he's playing, would you back against Gary's go and make a World semi-final or something like that?
That's the difference where we're looking at Gary and we're looking at Wade. And in form, there's not a comparison because one is miles ahead of the other, miles and miles ahead of the other. That's the worry for James Wade fans, is that there is no real sign that there's a turnaround. And in yearly performance, there's no surprise that he's dropped out of the top 16 because that's not where he deserves to be. However, as you've just alluded to, if he's going to if one player in that 50th and go into a tournament with 0 form and go and win a winner's check, it's probably James Wade. So there's always that hope in there with James Wade.
But yeah, back to the Euro Tour. We're going to go a few players I want to talk about as well. First of all, got a round too far. It's like I'm missing one. Round one. There was a massive talking point on social media, and Gob and I spoke about it. I want to get your opinions first before you hear what I thought of the weekend. The 9 darter from Scott Waits and the George Killington reaction.
Wasn't a fan of the reaction.
No, I agree. I think it's it's just unnecessary, isn't it?
See, Gob and I actually agreed on this, and we were the other way. We didn't have an issue with it. That would you go and clap, or would you give your opponent a high five in a football game if they just scored a trick against you?
I think a 9 dart is a different thing, isn't it? I think it's a different thing.
Back in the day, I agree, but they're that common now. I don't think it's as special as...
Not in my house, they're not, mate. Not in my house. No, I sort of get it. I don't know. I think it's... I mean, when I say I thought it was unnecessary, I mean, it's... Part of that is probably born out of the view that it's a fairly, it's culturally accepted that's what that's what's expected of it, and that's what you're supposed to do. It doesn't offend me that he doesn't. I just think it's a bit unnecessary. I think you try and make a point. I just think someone who does that is almost trying to make a point that's unnecessary to make. The point he made was winning the match, wasn't it? I just, he might as well have. I don't know. It doesn't offend me. I just think it's a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. There's no right or wrong answer. Pete, just out of interest, are you coming to any tournaments coming up? Are we going to see you in Dortmund or the Grand Slam? The other one, that he may just be leaving his run too late, but we're starting to see the Jules van Dongen that romped through Q School. He's taken his time to adapt to life as a pro. But right now, he is hot.
Yeah, that's the problem, though. Too late. Unless miracles are achieved at the World Championship in regards to finding the right qualifier and then having that deep run. We've seen it with players before. It is possible. But it's just a very, very poor run he's had pre this time. But he played some sensational stuff at the weekend.
Well, all of a sudden, he's in the Players' Championship finals at the moment. Currently 57, so he is going to Minehead. Is he at the Worlds yet? And he is in a World Championship spot. So he's giving himself the opportunity to save his card.
He needs to, as much as what he's done in 22 months, he needs to do that in 2 months. It's an awful, massive ask. You know what? Going in with that form, it's achievable, but you are relying on an awful lot as well as playing well. Because you do need a road of the dream with a draw. Obviously, sneaking into the Players' Championships mean you're going to get one of the big guys first round.
But are you? Because have you not seen? The seedings are an absolute mess.
Have they?
For the Players' Championships. Because
you're still going to have a relatively informed player. it might be a relatively informed player, but not on TV. But you are going to have a relatively informed player.
So just for argument's sake at the moment, Michael Smith is seeded 25 for the Players' Championship finals.
Hey.
Michael Van Gerwen is seeded 30th.
Yeah, but right now he's due to play Danny Noppert. It's not a nice first round draw, is it? There's a lot to change still in that.
It's not the worst right now. Noppy's not in all-conquering form either.
Still,
Danny Noppert at the moment is not the same Danny Noppert he was a year ago.
No, correct. He's not.
So he's given himself the opportunities here.
He's not the player he was that length though. However, the experience on that stage, he's already won a tournament on there. So I just think it's good to see him playing well. He puts himself in a good position for January. I would be shocked if he's not a tour card from January by not winning it back.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
no way
100%. Kirk from Matadors in says, with the opportunities off the tour and the amount Jules put into his game, he could be a seriously good player who picks up a lot of money off the tour. Yeah, I agree that he could, but also what I've seen the last 2 months, I think he could be a damn good player on the tour as well. The amount of 180s he hits, I think if he gets his card back, he could be a huge danger.
He's very watchable, isn't he? As well, like he's a very watchable player when he's on a stage, and I just think that's good. Just generally for darts, there's lots of players that, God bless them, aren't particularly watchable on a big stage, but he is. He's got a bit of something, and he's nice to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Also, from round 1 of the German Darts Championship, what else were your standouts?
You know what game I loved? And it wasn't a standout for performance, but first round game I loved was Florian Hempel and Aaron Monk. That was just such a good watch, from how Hempel recovered from Munstead start and then how Monk reacted playing an away game, let's be honest. That was just, for me, was just a very, very good game. It sort of had everything in there. Like I said, the numbers won't suggest that, but from a spectacle, it was just great to watch.
An enjoyable watch.
I've known Aaron since he was 4 years old, so I've just got a soft spot for him, and he's an absolute lunatic.
You know what probably surprised me, Phil? I expected more of a celebration at the end. It was quite muted in comparison to what
Aaron has the ability to be a fabulous player. But I'm not saying, by the way, what I'm about to say, it's not something that I haven't said to him. He's got the ability to be a fabulous player, but he has the brain cells of a snail.
He has as well. He's going to need to start picking up wins like that if he's going to keep his tour card. And I know he hasn't, I know he's still in year 1 of that 2-year cycle, but if you look at what you'd expect to pick, you need to pick up over 2 years to retain your tour card. He's not halfway to what he needed to pick up in year 1. If you're averaging it out, so he is a player that's going to have to start picking up those wins in events like that, or he's going to end up a world championship win away from retaining his tour card.
Yeah. Also, the non-tour card holder, Daryl Pilgrim, again proving that surely he has to win a tour card this year. He's too good not to.
It's just a horrible place to need to don't win one, isn't it? Because it's such a lottery. But yeah, he's another amazing talent who is benefiting from not being on the tour, though.
Yeah,
and that's the concern a little bit with the stepping stone. If you don't hit the ground running, there's going to the more the game away from the PDC progresses, there is a lot of these players who are going to look at it as that step is very, very, very difficult to make from the amateur game up to the PDC.
Do you think it takes some of the pressure off? Like, there's no doubt, and we say it all the time, there has never been a better time to not have a tour card than there is now. More opportunities to earn money, more opportunities to play darts, more opportunities to make a career out of those out of playing darts in those events that non-tour card holders can go to. Do you think that takes the pressure off Q School a little bit? Where for many, that's the opportunity to have, to be a professional dart player. There are professional dart players that don't have a tour card, and that's where they're earning. That's what they're earning a living from.
Possibly, but speaking to Daryl when he was at the Super Series, and yes, Hendy asked, he is in Champions Week at the Super Series. He wants to be a tour card holder. He wants to go and play against the best. So that his mindset is that's what he wants to go and do. However, if he is, I'm not sure that shirt is going to be allowed. All it's missing is the Virgin Atlantic bit on the front from being a football shirt. It's literally like the Palace replica shirt from the 90s. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but
he's not the only one who's very, very close to going over that boundary of being another sports shirt. I'm looking up north at this one, Dan.
It's time to be quiet now. Let's not draw attention to it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the Pilgrim shirt, but it's very
let's not draw attention to it. We'll just wave flags when he comes on stage.
Yeah, but I suppose we can just say that all people can't wear orange anymore, can they? You can pick any shirt and say, "Oh, it looks like a football shirt," can't you? No one can wear a green shirt anymore because it looks like they're supporting an Irish team. You can't.
I've got a feeling Nutty Brown Ale might be sponsor soon as well, and we'll go all out.
Big blue star on it.
To be fair, John again makes a fabulous point about keeping your card. It is all about those Euro tours,
and
we've talked about it so much, haven't we? The waiting on those Euro tours and the qualification and it's very, very hard to see, just to work the maths out of how you can retain your tour card without making, a good amount of those tours, because the weighting of money on them is so high in comparison to what people are picking up on Pro Tour events. It almost makes, and we've had it before, if you've got 3 days in Barnsley and you've got 2 Pro Tour events and a European qualifier, to many, certainly to those looking to retain a tour card, the European qualifier is more important.
100%.
And so then you end up with the most important day isn't the event, isn't the tour events that you're having. In which case, well, are you pulling something away from that? And I don't know how else I don't know how else you'd get people to qualify for European tour events. And we've talked to death about the weighting of the money and how much you earn for that in comparison with others, but it's a tough one.
And that's going back to Daryl Pilgrim, and John would probably explain it better, but at the minute John's got that pressure of a weekend coming up and needing to qualify for those Euro events, whereas being an amateur, it's not right calling these players amateurs to the level they reach, but being an amateur, a so-called amateur, Daryl hasn't got them pressures at the moment to perform at the level he has, because he's able to go to Super Series, go to any events on the floor and go and perform. And if you're knocked out at one, you've got another opportunity next week, or you've got another tournament that you can play for. That's where the pressure is completely different. Can Daryl go to Q-Stall and can he then go and maintain his tour card after 2 years? From the level of performance, 100%. But you could probably say that from the majority of the 1 to 8 now, it's just that constant pressure, and having that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 week window of not playing and then having a pressured aim at your doorstep straight away. It's just a completely different minefield. And why? It's good to see players like Daryl wanting to go to Q-Stall, but you totally understand why people take the other approach and think, actually, I might be better off not being on the tour. You can see why that's a conversation to be had there when you never would before.
I get it, and I think it's it's definitely sounds. If you take it away from darts and you put it into any other job in the world, if you're a tour card holder, that's where you've got, and it's all you can do to earn your money. You can't just go and whereas if you haven't got a tour card, it's almost like you can bank some overtime in, isn't it? You can go and say, oh well, I'll just go and play. Where can I play a tournament? I'll find some tournaments this weekend. I'll go and play that tournament. I'll play that tournament. I'll play this. I'll play that. You can literally go out and find. You can find opportunities to earn money. If you're a tour card holder, there's the opportunities. There's what you've got. Play Michael Smith in the first round. Oh, you didn't win. Oh, no, nothing for you this weekend. See you later. I just think it's almost the opportunities are so broad that, yeah, I can see people maybe going to Q Schooler, but they're not being particularly broken hearted if they don't get through.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a real interesting one. Back to the Euro Tour as well. Peter Wright returning to some form slowly, more consistent from him this time. We've had 94, 92, 97, 101, and then look, he's dropped off a bit in the final, but that's more like the Peter Wright we expect. That it's still not anywhere near the Peter Wright that was winning the match play and winning the world, but it's better again.
Do you think he now makes the Players' Championship?
I still don't think he makes the Players' Championships. But I think we are having the conversation a lot more regularly at the moment about seeing positive things from Peter Wright than we have done at any point in the last 18 months. Like, yeah, we're more so now, we're talking that we're seeing, we're seeing more from him. We're seeing a better level. We're seeing more consistency. He's sticking with sets of darts a bit more. I don't know if that means he's playing himself into form at the right time of the year. I'd still be shocked to see him do anything miraculous in a big event, but could happen.
I was 50-50 on Peter. I imagine more towards 70-30 he will. The form he's in at the moment. Performances, as long as he plays in all sits, I want to say there is. As long as he plays in all sits.
Block of 4 and a block of 2, I think, left.
Yeah. He probably needs about 6,000, which is still a big chunk of money in the Players' Championships. But I think he'll squeeze in.
Are you still confident on Nathan Aspinall?
Again, yes, if he plays in all sits.
Because Nathan Aspinall's only 750 quid ahead of Peter Wright, isn't he?
500, I think. But yeah, they will.
Is it around that? It's fair, yeah. Not a lot.
But yeah, I think Aspinall, and I think Peter, it looks like he's just playing better, which means just sit along with board finals, and then you in that midst because you're picking up the money to do so. But it's looking more positive, and I agree with you that Peter Wright is looking better and better. Seeing the comments there from LS saying snakebite for Prem, that's still possible.
Don't joke about things like that.
That is still possible, but it's good seeing back playing well.
Yeah,
I think we're in. Oh, go on. Sorry, Phil.
No, go on, mate.
I was just going to say, it prompted me to look there just when we're talking about the Players' Championships and whether Peter Wright was going to get there or not. I think in those 6 events, I think we're going to see a right mix because it's so tight. Because it's 64, you've got less than $2,000 between 15 spots or so. I think we're going to see an awful lot of changes up and around that qualification. It's going to get quite exciting about who gets to go down to Minehead for a trip.
Yeah. Also, another huge moment for darts in Germany. Ricardo Pietreczko winning a Euro Tour. Now, everyone said this was a huge shock. And don't get me wrong, it was a surprise, but I don't think it's as big a shock as what everyone made out. Because if you look at his numbers across the year and what he's done, he has played some bloody good stuff this year and strong results together. So, yeah, look, it's a surprise but I don't think it's this huge upset that everyone was talking about.
It's a surprise because the amount of big name players who are yet to pick up one of these or get to finals and don't get over the line. So it is a surprise. But I agree, no one shot that he's dead into the quarterfinal stage because he's playing that well. So if you are there, it's only a couple more. And then when you put in 12 out of 12 on your doubles from the back end of semi-final into the final, you're not really going to get beaten, are you? That was just so good. Yeah, surprised is probably the right word, but performance-wise, fully deserved. What a great weekend, but what a great Sunday night.
Yeah,
the Sunday night was where he came into his own. With that support, he just came into his own.
The final was sublime. Like, it was absolutely sublime. It was superb to watch, thoroughly entertaining. I think what we saw, there was no moment throughout the day really where I saw him do anything particular in terms of darts that sort of surprised me. That I thought, he hasn't got that in his locker. He hasn't. It was good to see him be able to put that together, and to maintain that level over a weekend and do it against big name players on a big stage. Because it's one thing saying he's got the crowd behind him. It's another thing thinking, well, he's got thousands of German people there cheering him on, against Peter Wright. Again, it's not as simple as I think, just, the supporters are with him. I know it adds pressure. I just think he coped with it incredibly well. He showed a level of maturity that probably doesn't match his shirt or entrance theme, but really, really impressive stuff. And I am still surprised, though, that he's managing to get away with the nickname and the shirt. No one's pulled him on that yet.
Well, the way if he carries on, he's not going to get that through copyright, is he?
No, the lawyers from Nintendo will be in touch, I would have thought, and get that shut down.
It was just, like I says, it was a great weekend for him. The moment of it all, the fact is, we're all talking about the 8-8 or 12 on the bounce. That last leg against Michael van Derwin was ridiculous. A 10-darter against someone who's got, yes, he hasn't got the record he used to have on the Euro Tour in regards to winning every last leg shootout, but he's still got a ridiculous record in last legs. And the fact that he's done on and won that in 10 darts and then followed it up with that final performance against Peter Wright, who has gone into that final as favourite, it's just shown a certain level of maturity that we wasn't sure that he had at that sort of stage in tournaments, and puts him in a good stead going into the rest of the year.
Yeah, completely. Also, another couple of bits. Remember, everyone, if you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe. Massively appreciate your support. Russ Bray, it's still not as good as George's one, where George has marched across the stage and literally read someone the riot act, but it was still good. We know you can whistle. I liked it.
It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah, but the Euro Tour concludes. Also, off of that, there was an announcement today. They tried to sneak it out last night, but I was straight all over it. Machine Seeker sponsoring the European Championships. That was one that Kazoo were meant to be retaining. It's another one off the Kazoo list. I know Matt says no, they're still a sponsor. I'm not convinced. I think if they get sponsors for all the Kazoo tournaments, we won't see them again.
Yeah, I mean, or anybody that wants to talk in a positive way and about that organisation's future, I would suggest they take a look at their share price over the last 12 months. Yeah, it's not positive.
Let's be fair, the PDC have just kind of smash and grab, taken their money and run, and they.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to be cynical enough to say that they've got into it expecting, Kazoo to fall.
Oh, no, they knew what they were doing, but it made me laugh when the Kazoo World Championship was announced and everyone was all over social media saying, the PDC are going away from bookies. This is a great thing for the sport. It was never a thing that, we're going away from bookies. It was, we're taking the Kazoo money because they've offered an absolute truckload of money and we're taking it.
Oh yeah, and but just and I say in terms of where that business is, in terms of its ability, because Kazoo as right when that deal was signed and they sponsored the world, they were going to sponsor the World Darts Championships. Kazoo's share price was roughly somewhere around £35 a share, ballpark roughly. The current share price is less than 50 pence a share. Like in percentage terms, it's an absolute catastrophe. And I just think for that organisation, they're going to have to really, really focus on being able to continue trading and paying their shareholders a dividend and the various different obligations they have as a publicly traded company, and probably haven't got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds to spaff around on sports sponsorships, even if it gets their name out a bit more.
Yeah. The Premier League is Kazoo. I know there's been certain firms discussing Premier League sponsorship with the PDC. I'm friends with people. I'm friends with the people that were discussing it.
How many do they have left?
Well,
Masters, Premier League, Open, Worlds,
Grand Slam, Players Championship finals.
These Players Championship finals?
I'm sure it was Kazoo, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that bloody stage was awful.
Yeah, he was right.
How are we doing now? I hope you are good, mate. Now, Morgan, I disagree. I preferred the William Hill stage to the Ladbrokes one.
Are we getting a full green stage then this year for the World Championships? Is that what we're expecting?
Absolutely. And I'm expecting the fans village to be incredible.
Yeah, it can't be far off them starting to put their marketing machine in motion, can it? From Paddy Power, when it's really going to kick in.
Yeah. 100%. So that was the final European tour of the weekend. We're not going to preview the European Championships. We will do that next week. I know the draw is out, but we're not going to go OTT on that. Instead, we're going to have a look. We're going to go across the pond now, because it is also the finale of the CDC tour this year, the Continental Cup, which I thoroughly enjoyed last year. I thought it was an absolute banging tournament. And look, I just love what the CDC are doing for darts in North America. There's a huge platform for dart players over there now, and we're seeing the fruits of it. We're seeing your Jules van Dongens, your Alex Spellmans, and everyone come through now, your Leonard Gates. So it's a great way to end. And something I did actually get made up in time. We have the tournament bracket.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. So Continental Cup. Look, Spellman seeded 1, and rightfully so. What a dominant year he's had over on the tour.
Yeah, no surprise he's seeded 1. But it's such a tough draw.
Yeah.
The field is fantastic. We speak about it quite often, of it being the sort of best affiliated tour. And that field of 16 tends to prove that, doesn't it? We're lucky enough that we get to see them in, was it Vegas, New York this year?
New York.
And now seeing that you travel all over the place, I forget where you've been. And then, like I says, we're now recognising the field as a whole, even if you're not following it week on week. So it's a great field, but Alex Spellman certainly stands out. Obviously, it's hard not to look from a seniors point of view at the likes of Jim Lund, who picked up the most recent Open event. Leonard Gates has picked up 3 of the TV tournaments. David Cameron has picked up a title last year, and then you've got the likes of Daniel Laubin now. It's just such a strong field.
Well, you've also got Stowe Bunce, who obviously has taken that World Championship spot as well. I really like the look of Jake McMillan and JT Davis, 2 youngsters coming through. It's a stacked 16. This is a real. It's going to be tough to pick a winner.
Where can I watch this, Phil?
It's on PDC TV.
Is it on PDC TV? Oh, that's good. So I wasn't sure if it was on. Just when I saw all those logos at the bottom, I wasn't sure whether it was streaming somewhere else. But it's
no, I'm pretty sure it's on PDC TV, and there'll probably be some games on the CDC Facebook page as well. Mega. But I'll speak to Peter and Anthony as well just to make sure and confirm it with you.
Perfect.
But looking at it, who would you be calling to get through the games?
It's dead hard to look past Spellman, isn't it? Like, certainly, like starting at the top left. I just think it's he's been playing so well and at such a high level. Very difficult to look past him.
So I will dial Spellman to meet Danny Lowby in the semi-final on one side.
I agree with you there.
See, I was going to say this exactly the same, but we can't all go the same way. So I, just for devilment, will have to go Spellman and David Cameron just because we can't all three agree, can we?
Yeah, we just
we'll just curse the players if we do that. And this side's horrible. Both of them are not nice. This side's horrible to pick. I think McMillan can do the job in the first round.
Oh, that's a big call.
Then, yeah, I'm going to put him in. I'm doing McMillan in one semi-final, and then I'm going to go with Leonard Gates. I could make an argument for about 4 more, by the way, on this side.
I am going to agree with you on Gates, but I think that Bunce comes through that quarter, beats Larry Butler in a quarter-final, and it's a Bunce-Gates semi.
I'm going for a Gates-Jim Long semi-final. So I'll put us back on screen, and you know what's coming next, boys. Winner and runner-up.
Spellman beats Gates.
Same two, different way around.
Ooh.
Sticking with the seniors. Part of the seniors family, so I'm sticking with the seniors.
Solid.
I'm going Spellman beats Gates. I just think there's something about Spellman. I think he's an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
I think we've been totally harsh on the other 14 players that we've
got. I agree with you. I genuinely think
that final could consist of 2 players that we've not mentioned in this deep dive.
100%. Yeah, it definitely could.
Yeah. I just think that Spellman has the game to be a tour player. I do. I rate him that highly.
And I'll be dead honest, it takes every spare time I have from a very busy life with too many kids and a big job to keep up with the darts that takes place in the country I live in. Never mind all the different stuff that happens around the world that I try and keep track of as well.
So, yeah, just a couple on the Continental Cup. David says CDC Continental Cup winner. Not going to the Worlds. No, it's a Slam spot and a World Series spot, I believe. Yeah, no, definitely not a World spot. Also, Liam says, random question, just wondering if everyone at Online Darts has certain areas of darts they cover. Ish. Look, Gob and Boise do more of the seniors than me. I just rock up and interview them. But you boys do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Gob and I tend to keep more of an eye on the women's series. We all kind of dip into the PDC side of it. And Boise loves an announcement when it comes to the WDF.
I knew you was going to mention my name. I knew you did it in that order for a reason. And I was like, Announcements have been of plenty at the minute.
So yeah. Also on that, Ben Robb confirmed. Were you expecting that announcement?
Yeah. Well, we all expected that because
the
qualifier, that one was.
As soon as he went to qualify for Ali Pali, there was only one decision, wasn't there?
And by the way, just an exclusive. If everyone's thinking, why have we done for the 11th of December? It's because Phill wants us to have it as a preview of the WDF World Championships, a review, of the WDF World Championships. That's why we're doing it on the 11th of December. That's
so why. We'll talk about it. We're not going to skip it. We just might have to send you to Lakeside.
Oh yeah, their finals on the Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I've got to travel south. I could have a right little weekend of this, couldn't I?
Dan's now proper planning mode, isn't he?
Yeah, right. Yeah. If I start researching more.
Researching more and the divorce papers as well, Dan, or is?
Yeah, it's to mind. No, Mrs. S went to Spain with her mates last month. So
you got credit in the bank.
Yeah, credit. It's my turn.
Just out of interest, is Mrs. S a darts fan?
No. I mean, no, she doesn't, not in any way. She tolerates it. We're lucky enough to have a house large enough that has multiple rooms with multiple TVs. I have managed to get a dartboard. I've got a dartboard up in our kitchen. I have no idea how I've managed to get away with that for this long. But it's still there. I thought I would have been instructed to take it down some time ago, but I'm clinging on to it.
Is it? I think it's the 2nd or the 3rd of December.
2nd to the 10th.
Yeah, I remember. I knew the 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, so we will have that there. But that's the CDC weekend. What else have we missed in a week of darts? We always miss something.
Super Gym, we've missed. Super Gym.
Yes, the Super Series. Jim McEwen showed some absolute bollocks on Saturday night. And I was lucky enough, I was in the director's chair the whole back end of the week, so I saw every dart thrown. And in the group stage, he was just solid as a rock.
He, I'm sure he won't mind me telling you, but the last seniors event, so last weekend in Newbury on the Sunday, Jim isn't someone who tends to walk in a room like some dart players can do and do. I'm winning this today, or an hour a month style of I've only booked my hotel for today because I'm going to win it. Jim isn't that type of player. But on Sunday last week, he told me, he was like, "Today's my day. Today's my day," and that shows the level of confidence that Jim's at, and the manner of performances he's putting in. To see him then go on and win it on Saturday wasn't a surprise, because we know how good of a player he is anyway. To have that confidence with him as well, it was just a very, very good Saturday session. And Jimbo, an all-gym final, which just showed the practice the weekend before. Not that it is a practice, it's an open series, but that board time was just so important, and it paid off for both of them, with Mr. McEwen butting his place into finals week.
Yeah, to be fair, it was a good week. And I have to say, this week, there was so many, obviously I'm on comms this week, with so many debutants, I didn't know what to expect today, but there was a couple that I really liked. Bottenberg has qualified for Lakeside. He's going to be a handful. He can play. And I think the bookies will price him completely wrong in games because they won't have a clue who he is and what he's done.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think today Reese is such a good player. I remember watching Reese from years back. Fortunate enough, down to watch some of the dev tours with Matty, and Reese was constant there. I can't remember many players of that generation. Probably Josh Payne's the other one, who hit so many 180s. Reese was one of them players for years and still can be. So it never surprised me when I see him go on and win 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 on a day, because he's got that level. the question has always been just that level of consistency. But generally, it's an intriguing week, isn't it, this week? And it throws out that argument that we always tend to hear that it's the same players every week. We certainly haven't got that.
Yeah, no, it was a really, really good week at the Super Series, all building to what's going to be a very good Champions Week as well. I'm looking forward to that one already. As well, the Slam, not many places left, boys. Time is running out to get there and running out quickly.
Until the qualifier.
I was about to say, until the qualifiers. And there's that many qualifiers now. I think there'd be at least 2 out of us 3 probably get in.
The thing is, it's such a big tournament because of the money too, and it obviously now being seeded. It's just that qualifying aspect, isn't it? For me, they need to look at that criteria. And then that's the disappointment. I still think there's aspects of the slam at the Grand Slam that could be better. And how it works. Yeah. The double header on the Sunday, I think, is a bit painful for the players. I know we've seen another one, but the biggest bugbear for me with the Grand Slam is that qualification criteria. And if that was cleaned up, I think it would make it better.
It's such a cool concept in its pure form, and it really means something to be there. And I just think that gets diluted when at the end of it you make up the numbers by just letting anyone, fill the last few spots if they put a couple of decent games together on the last day. I really like the Grand Slam, and I love what the concept is, and because I think it's such a cool thing that you win this big thing or you have this achievement, you become a finalist, you do something, and that gets you something else that gets you in. I think it's a really good concept, but I just think it gets diluted by those qualifiers at the end.
Mind you, one hilarious thing that backfired on Gob last week. So at the back end of last week's show, we were having the debate, the Grand Slam or the World Grand Prix. And Gob was adamant that the World Grand Prix was better than the Grand Slam. And
he's wrong.
He took to Twitter thinking that the general public were going to bail him out.
Right, he was roundly made a fool of because he was wrong.
Yeah, what did it finish after? It was 70-30 when I
just going to get the final numbers up. So he thought he'd be clever and thought he'd put a poll up. So
he's probably removed it.
No, I thought he had for a minute. So it was inspired from tonight's live lounge. Which PDC event is better, the World Grand Prix or the Grand Slam? And he was obviously thinking that everyone was going to go with the Slam because people shared his hatred of the Grand Slam. However, 68.5% of the votes went to the Grand Slam over just 31.5% the Grand Prix.
But it is diluted. The qualifying system needs looking at. And I don't care where they pull them from, as long as you have to win something or get to a final in something to get there.
I just think the uniqueness used to be the cross-code element. And look, I fully appreciate we are not going to get that back because the state of the WDF, let's be brutally honest, the PDC don't trust us. Don't trust the organisation or to have them in.
No, but there are enough people. There are enough, and I mean globally. I don't just mean down the local pub. There are enough credible organisations doing all sorts of positive things in darts that you could affiliate with, whereby you could have a system that somebody could win a spot. And whether that's regional qualifier, I feel like you've got to have done something to get there, not just come through a qualifier.
I agree.
I agree. The one thing for me is where I don't think you can't go back to not affiliated to WDF seniors, whatever organisation we say. For me, while you have it as a seeded competition, that does make no sense. So if it is a seeded competition, you've got to have it 32 within the PDC, but you've got 32 winners across the year. or runners-up, or finalists, I should say, because of Pro Tours, because of Euro Tours. And with it being a seeded event, and you have Pro Tours and Euro Tours in there, everyone has had that opportunity to qualify for that tournament.
That's the thing.
Then it shouldn't be putting 2 qualifiers at the end. 2 qualifiers is fine. You can't have that many.
I'd have one from the CDC, one from the DPA, one from the DPZ, one from the Asian Tour. The women's series get their spot anyway, which is in Challenge Tour, Dev Tour. Me personally, I'd use all those associated affiliate tours to fill the spots is the wrong word, but to win a spot from those because it something different.
And also that it makes, we've talked today. So those tours, they're all, let's be honest, they are developing tours. They are all tours and associations and different codes of the game that are growing and developing. The PDC is the top of the tree. Now we've talked tonight about the women's order of merit, and already we've talked about it in a context of that playing in these tour events. It like the big sort of aspirational targets. It's not just winning a few quid every time you win an event. It's that you have the opportunity to get to Ali Pali. You have the opportunity to get to the Slam. You have the opportunity to qualify for the match play. And if you can start to use, with those, CDC and various other affiliate tours and the Asian tour, that you put that Slam spot in there, I just think it's a no-brainer. I would much rather see 6 players in from affiliate tours that have earned their spot there through a tour or through an event or a tournament than I would seeing tour card holders have a shootout for it. Because it just feels like filling spots to me, that.
No, I'm with you. Fully on board with that. Right. We'll start to get people's question times in because we haven't done a proper question time in a while, have we? We've always rushed it of late because there's been so much to talk about. So we actually want a proper question time segment. Whilst you get them in, have we missed anything else? Just check in if we've missed anything else in a week of darts.
I'll extend that invite to the chat room of question time plus. Is there anything you want to see from our live show?
Yeah.
Because now is the time to take your ideas in, because we are only about 7 weeks away, 8 weeks away.
I think we should play the online darts open behind closed doors.
I've seen Phill play darts, and we haven't got enough time on the Monday for that game to be complete, never mind the whole open.
All I'll say is, though, Gob didn't beat me, did he? After giving it the big Billy bollocks.
Oh, dear.
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered everything in a week of darts. Obviously, we've got Pro Tours coming up this week, which we will be streaming all of them. You've got Jar for a bit on Wednesday. And then Gob and I, then me, and then me, Gob, and Dan on Saturday for a bit.
It's exciting.
Well, there's one for you, Boise, from Paul Stitch to your rides up there.
Refusing to answer.
I thought you were measuring it in months rather than years.
And I will answer that question on December the 11th. Actually, no, I won't. I will answer that question 28 days from December the 11th, and you know why 28 days, Philip.
Yeah, I know exactly why. Which that says to me, you're thinking the same as me then.
No, I would have more confidence in answering that question when I know the answer to within 28 days of the 11th.
do a live darts 9. Yeah, we might do a 9 dart challenge, something like that.
We need forfeit darts, maybe.
Yeah. Talk about the women's series. We did nearly 40 minutes on that.
Say, where were you?
Yeah, we've absolutely smashed that.
Most of the night doing that.
How many years have you guys been involved in darts? Just darts in general. I remember picking up a dart as a real young kid. I started playing league darts at 13, 14. And just
playing, spectating. Just say playing, spectating, I would say, was about James Wade was outside the top 16 time.
Oh, I tell you what, that's a full circle, isn't it?
This is not saying this is now the end of me, by the way.
Yeah. See, I think I had darts is just something that was always on the TV, even when I was a little kid. It's hard to think of a time when I wasn't, if that makes sense, interested in. I don't remember not being interested in darts.
Sam, to answer your question, any darting desks lined up? Not revealing anything of that, but yes.
But yes, there are.
No names yet. No names yet. I've already picked Marpe's partner, by the way. So,
have you got your doubles partner stitched up?
Oh, in my head, yeah. I haven't announced it, but in my head.
I know who he wants.
It's not you, Phil.
How much to start work on a doubles partner, aren't I? What's to start putting some graft in, making some calls.
Yeah.
If I arrive with Glenn Durrant tied up in my boot.
Twist I'll be in your passenger seat. And we tie down in the back.
Yeah. Callum on the back seat.
Callum is in the glove compartment. Ryan Joyce is in the roof box.
I was 13. Yeah, darts was just something that was always on. I remember playing with my granddad and things like that, and then obviously watching Lakeside on the Beeb and things like that.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Sometimes if you grow up, like my middle kid Billy, like he's 8 and he doesn't. I mean, that kid's seen more darts than most adult darts fans in terms of the darts he's seen on TV, the events that he's been to. Like he won't remember a time in his life when darts wasn't like a main thing that was going on in it. So I think if you grow up with it and it's there all your life, it sticks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
11th of December, do an awkward question, picked out of the hat for each desk. I like the idea of that. That would work well. It would be very awkward until I'd shut down, but very, very good. Sam sent in a question earlier. Sam, pin it back in, please, just because there's a lot happening in the chat room tonight. If you can drop that back in, we'll certainly answer that. Do you remember your first darts game watching on TV?
First darts name, what?
Oh, game I watched.
Game I watched.
No.
The first one that massively, I can't remember the exact who he was playing, but Richie Burnett was one of my first memories.
No, I can't remember. I remember the first football match I went to. I don't remember the first darts match.
The first time I ever went to darts was Lakeside. I went for the Barney Colin Monk semi-final.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because obviously Colin was from Andover.
Yeah, local lad, didn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, I went to the.
That's cool.
First set of darts. Oh. So obviously I had the cheap and tacky brass set like every kid does.
Yeah.
But then I remember, I think I had a John Lowe, but John Lowe was my first tungsten dart, I think.
What's it?
Yeah.
See, I never played darts. I'll tell you, so the first dartboard that I had in my house was, I bought it 24 hours before the lockdown. Probably told boys, I've probably told everyone this story, but literally as soon as I knew we were going into lockdown, I thought, well, sorry, I might as well learn to play darts. So I went to Argos the day before it shut down, bought a dartboard, brought it home, ordered loads of darts off the internet, blamed each one of the different sets as to why I was crap. So it wasn't me; it was the darts. They thought, and I've added that, and I've probably, you know, when I've been in my house, I've probably thrown darts every day since. I can't remember not, you know, I have a board in my kitchen. Like if I'm boiling a kettle, I chuck darts at the wall. You know, if I'm pottering around, I'm always chucking them ever since. And I'm on now with a set. I tell you what I'm throwing lately. I was throwing a set of A.D. Lewis darts, and then they're completely different. But my mate gave me a chuck of Johnny Clayton set, and they just felt extra lovely and matched my grip really well. So at the minute, I'm throwing a set of 23-gram Johnny Claytons.
Nice. The Eric Bristow Red Rings, yeah, they were iconic from Argos. They were. Everyone, they were. I remember everyone had them. I hear Corey Cadby is KSI's next opponent. Could you imagine?
I know I'd put my money on.
I didn't watch any of it at the weekend. I refused to.
Well, you know, Phil, because I did watch it, and I haven't got enough. I haven't got enough swear words in my vocabulary to tell you how bad it was. A curiosity got me, and I'm annoyed at myself that I was curious enough to watch it because it was crap. Oh, it was beyond garbage.
Yeah, I deliberately. I was working anyway, and I was
horrendous. You'd have disliked yourself afterwards. I disliked myself for having been allowed myself to be drawn into it.
Is that all it needed, Dan? I thought I did you a lot more beforehand, mate.
Oh, mate, there's a queue. I have to join.
So back to Sam's question was it on the line? Would you like to see the draws for events done on the day? Even right before playing?
I like the UK Open being that way, but the others, from a media point of view that we're in, no, it would be horrific.
I want draws that aren't seeded draws to be shown, if not on telly, because I know it's not practical. It's not like the FA Cup where you do it after the match that's just been on. But I want to see draws. Like when there's an event, when there's a tournament, I don't want someone to just say there's the draw for the event. I want to see it happen live.
Yeah.
I don't particularly want it on the day. I'm happy to have it whenever, but I want to see the draw happen.
Yeah, I agree. Scrolling back through, what else have we got? Done that one. We've done that one there. Burnett Barney final 98. That was superb.
It was a good match, that.
Yeah. Loved every single minute of that. I know we spoke about it last week, but do we reckon we're going to have a shuffle round in terms of venues? Do you think the Morningside survives?
I don't think so. It just doesn't look. It doesn't look like what it should look like for an event like that. Even in the latter stages.
My only concern with that is I think it possibly outstays Aldersley.
Oh, Aldersley's going nowhere. Aldersley's going to be... That's the Slam's home now.
Do you not think that to move to Leicester?
No, not after speaking with the PDC marketing boys. They've sold more tickets for this year's event than they ever have.
But I think we'll be having similar questions around midweight there. That's normally the issue with the slam at Aldersley.
I think everyone's got tolerance for it looking a bit sparse in the early stages, midweek matches when folk have got the thing that I just thought was a bit of an own goal was not doing something to cover and put some sort of image, whether that be even just a big flag, something over the seats at the back, because you constantly, all you could see, and it's the arrangement of that arena and how it's set out and the shape of it, that you spend all your time looking at empty seats all the time. For me, I just think it doesn't fit the image very well. It's far too far south. I'd like to see it replaced and played in. How far north do I go? I'll tell you where I'd like to see it. Somewhere like, I don't know, Yorkshire, Leeds, maybe.
Birmingham.
I'd have it in Newcastle, but I just feel people think I'm taking the piss if I say that.
They would. I would.
I'll go for the nearest big city that's like further south. York could be good. Like York could be right. No, but like for me, it doesn't look, and then you end up thinking, well, because even at the back end of the week, it didn't look good. Even all week we said, well, don't worry because those seats will all be full come Saturday, Sunday, and they weren't. And they're just the way that room is shaped and the way those, but for me, I don't know why they didn't just cover it. Could have just covered those seats because all week you just looked at empty seats all week. And it doesn't make it feel special. Doesn't make it feel like a big major event on telly.
No, that's fair. What else did we have in here? Do you think the PDC World Championships are the most open ever? So many good players now, not one dominating MVG up and down. I'm still not convinced. I think the World Championship is just different to everything else because of the set play format. Yeah. If it was leg play, I can kind of go with that. But I just think that you have to be able to get your head around set play. And I just think that it will be one of the big boys that win it.
There's so many movies, the fact that it is set play, the fact that it is the World Champions, there is so much more, the weighting of money. Let's be honest, like they're earning money, and that is their biggest earning opportunity of the year. Some of those lads that aren't the big boys, that is the most money they've ever played for. It's the biggest opportunity they've ever had, and the pressure that's involved, and I just the whole event suits big players, big names, big personalities, big bollocks.
Suits the players who have been to a semi-final of a Worlds before or a semi-final of a Grand Prix before because of the set format and the Lunda. It suits those, and that's why you expect those names to be there then. And it's also how you prepare, the know-how of it. It's like there's a lot of expectation around Littler, for example, of going on and having a good sort of run with it being his world, but it's the preparing it, and it's like no other tournament because it is two tournaments.
Yeah,
it's a pre-Christmas and a post-Christmas, and then that's how it's to be looked at, and then a post-New Year tournament, potentially even down into three. It's how you manage all that
100%.
With that time of year. That's why you look at it, and it's hard to look back probably 4 or 5 names who can win the Worlds this year because of that experience and know-how.
Yeah, I agree. We spoke about Toon earlier, Big Johnny. What would you change off the PDC calendar? I'd organise it slightly better. I know it's not as easy as just saying I'd organise it better, but
I'd take that stupid trip to Bahrain out for starts at that time of year.
World Series in January.
Well,
I'm a
January
firm
World
believer.
Series will be the first one.
Every sport needs an off season.
Yeah.
Now, I understand Q School has to be in January, but that's not pros. That's the thing. For me, the World Championship final, the 1-2-8 shouldn't play again until either the Masters, the last weekend in January, or that February period for me.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think there needs to be an off season.
I think it's madness, and all you're going to do, and I understand like all the commercial aspect to it makes complete sense. I just think you've got to look at your calendar and do it in a way that's better, because you do immediately start to hurt your pro tour by you immediately have the biggest players in the world are completely strung out. Most of them have gone deep into the World Championships. Then they've gone to dick around in Bahrain and everywhere else. They're also then looking at that they're on the cusp of 17 weeks on the bounce in the Premier League. There's got to be some opportunity for some, recuperation there, hasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, just
Can't have the World Final on New Year's Day. No bastard would go.
Nah.
They'll all be hungover from New Year's Eve. And you can't have world fixtures on Boxing Day either, because people have got to travel.
Yeah.
Does Luke Littler win a Pro Tour in his first year?
Yes.
I'm going to say yes as well.
Easiest question you've asked me all night.
I'm going to say no.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think I think his game's too good. There's too many opportunities. Like, how many Pro Tours we play? 34?
30, isn't there?
Is it 30? I just think there's too many. I just think if you give Luke Littler 30 cracks at something, he'd do it. That's what I think. He's got 30 opportunities to string his A game together for an afternoon. And if he plays his A game for an afternoon, he'll push anyone. Not saying he beats everybody, but he'll push anyone. And I just think with 30 opportunities, for him to get 1 out of 30, yeah, I'd back it.
Not first year, I don't think he will.
But I think he'll take a lot by surprise.
We saw.
That's the thing. I don't think him winning one will be a surprise.
I think it's whether it's by surprise.
I just looked at the field of winners now for the Players' Championships this year. Dirt 3, Derwin 3, Luke 2, Noppy 2, Damon 2, Dando 2. Then you're doing Smith, Van Derwin. Van Derwin's only won 1. I know he hasn't played more. Johnny Clayton only won 1. Tross only won 1. Chizzy only won. You looked at the names, and I just think it's still a difficult field to down and win one.
It's undoubtedly a difficult field, but I feel far more confident about saying yes to him winning one than I probably ever would have done on a year 1 tour card holder.
Yeah. I completely agree. Everyone, thank you very, very much. An unbelievable show this evening. Thoroughly enjoyed every single second of it. We had no stupids tonight because Gob's not here.
We're getting referee more often.
Yeah, but plenty coming up your way. Like we said, we have another 4 streams to go this week. We have you covered on the Pro Tour. We've got some interviews to edit as well. We've got Gary Anderson, Ian White. I can't remember who the other one was.
Ross Smith.
Possibly, yeah. He did tell me. And for once, you won't hear my voice on them. We allowed Gob out on day release. So plenty coming your way. Also, like we said, book the 11th in your diaries for the Live Lounge Live. Also, I've got another banging idea for some content, which I'm going to run past the boys once we come off air. But It's all been superb. Thank you very, very much last time. Make sure you subscribe because we massively appreciate your support. And we'll see you all on Wednesday. I'll be with Phill Bars, Lee Boyce, and of course Dan Simpson as always. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all very, very soon.